Welcome to the show, A Little Bit of Life with Bryce Briggs. I haven't got on here in a couple of weeks. I know I said something out every Thursday, so better late than never, though. So today, what's on my mind is pain. I spent a lot of my life in pain. Got to the point where I had to do something about it. I'm going to go back to kind of the beginning of my experience with pain and chronic illness, which I've overcome. I developed my first chronic illness when I was 6 years old. I had IBS. And digestive issues, just kind of off and on, constant through my younger years. So kind of looking at when I developed my first chronic illness and the root of that. What I'm going to say may be controversial to some, but why we experience dis-ease isn't the reason most people think. The reason we experience dis-ease is because we create dis-ease within ourselves. Hence the word dis-ease. We are not at ease with ourselves or where we're at in life, or whatever's going on. However, we're internalizing life's ups and downs, the stress of life. My parents divorced for a short time when I was 5. And I did end up remarrying again right before I turned 6. But in that time, I can remember, this is where the root of my first chronic illness came up to be, was it had to do with worthiness. And we think, what does 5, 6-year-old know about worthiness? But at that time, we're really developing our core beliefs about ourselves. We're solidifying core beliefs. At that time, when my parents were apart, when it came to my father and I in our relationship, I didn't feel like I was worth his time. I can't say he meant to make me feel that way. When it comes to any parent, a parent's doing a lot of times the best they can do based on how they were raised or treated growing up. When it comes to being a parent, our kids become a mirror for us. But anyway, it just seemed like I wasn't ever worth my father's time. And that became something that internalized in me, and there's the root of that. And those beliefs, those limited beliefs we have about ourselves, they feed into other areas of our life. And I ended up developing more issues as I got older. At age 9, 10, I got diagnosed with anxiety depression disorder. One thing I can see around that time is having a little brother come into my life right before I turned 9, and being the only child for almost 9 years, and having a little brother, it's Down syndrome. A big life change. Anytime you have someone new come into your life, it's a life change, or someone that leaves your life, it's a life change. That, I think, just the worriness of that situation and how that was going to be, I held a lot of things and suppressed a lot of the feelings I had at that time. I love my little brother. He's my best bud. And I was definitely one to want to keep track of him and watch after him, and I hear that leads into some other patterns that developed as I got older. I felt like I was, I'm always responsible for him in a lot of ways, like I was another parent almost. And there's times that I felt like with my parents' relationship, I had to parent the parents too. But I woke up one morning, about 14 years old, and my neck was hurting. And my neck didn't stop hurting. I had neck pain up until almost 30 years old. So that was just chronic every day, just there. It was just always there. And I think that was just because I felt the load, the responsibility that wasn't mine to take on. I see that flow into so many areas too, and people pleasing patterns and whatnot that developed. And I ended up having migraines on a consistent basis. And of course, along with all this other stuff I had going, I had digestive issues still. Fast forward to age 19, going into 20. At that time, I was planning on going on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And of course, I had a history of my health issues they're worried about. They didn't want to just send me out there on a full-time gig, on a full-time mission. I had everything prepared for that. I had to go get all my vaccines updated and whatnot. And they sent me on a mini mission at that time, and it was supposed to be 6 weeks, but my immune system just crashed on me. And I ended up getting, at that time, the worry was swine flu. And which, that's what they said I had, which I just had vaccinations, a whole bunch of them. Got pneumonia on top of it. I had to go home, recover. I remember all that year. I just had a heck of a time getting back to like some normalcy. My digestive system just seemed to be completely shot at that point as well. I couldn't keep food down, or it was just going through me. And it was challenging for me at that time because it was something I felt I really wanted to do, was to go on a mission. I look back now, I'm thankful that I didn't. Everything works out for a reason, and as I tell my story, that's all going to come out. Reason I'm talking through these events is progression of pain in my experience of just having pain all the time. And this is times that I've had, really, yelling at me, pain or discomfort, dis-ease. So I got through that year, which was 2009. That was a rough year. Growing up too, my mom, she's a very loving person and a loving parent, and her and I were close growing up. But she seemed to worry a little bit too much. And I think, she's watching this, don't get offended, but, you worried a little bit too much. And I know as a parent, I worry a little bit too much about my kids too. So, but I was going to the doctor for pretty much every little thing that I had, every cold or sinus infection, and getting antibiotics, which in the grand scheme of things, that didn't help me any. because when I moved out, when I was getting ready to get married, and I moved out, and then I didn't get married, I noticed that, I didn't go to the doctor for every little cold or sinus infection, and the duration of them shortened. So that was an aha moment for me, like, oh, just let things do their thing. My body's got a handle. Cool. So I got married, and actually felt a little bit better for a little bit. It was kind of interesting. Things seemed to smoothen out for a bit as far as pain goes and health issues. My wife and I got pregnant with our firstborn early 2012, and he was born in November of 2012. And at that time, it was like one job to another. The economy where it was just seemed to be tough pickings, and I went from job to job. So that was a lot of change all at the same time. And then it came to an option that I could move down to Arizona and help my grandmother run a candy shop. She moved down to Arizona in 2012, tried out some retirement, and she definitely decided retirement wasn't for her. And a dream of hers was to start a candy shop, so she started a candy shop. And at that time, I wasn't making a whole lot anyway, but at the same time, it was like God was calling us to move to Arizona. And though, I could use the story of, I needed a job, my grandma was invite me down to help her run this business. But really, it came down to that decision was we felt led to come down here. So we come down to Bullhead City, Arizona. It was April of 2013. It was already in the 90s at that time. Like driving up to work 8:30 in the morning, it was 90-some degrees. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's going to be terrible. I haven't ever seen the area before, so that was, it was a complete not know what I'm getting into type of situation, big change, big life change of moving and getting into business with my grandmother. Boy, and the first few months we were here, I was like, I'm ready to go back. It's hot. I noticed when I got down here, I started gaining a lot of weight really quickly, and also my migraines were more frequent. It just seemed to be getting worse, and at that time, I didn't really have any indication of the why of things. 2014, we had our second born in December. And at the time, I was still overweight and dealing with a lot of pain. And at that time, shortly after that, I decided to just restrict myself. I went on a very restrictive diet. I cut out a lot of foods. I just didn't accept where I was at in my life at that time. And so it was like a drastic change. Going from 2015, 2016, I went from 210 pounds down into like the 130s. So I lost a lot of weight very quickly, but I felt great. But I was still very restrictive of how I was eating, trying to watch it, and seemed like I could manage things. Like my migraines were getting more manageable, and also my gut issues that I had, and still the chronic neck pain every day. So Fast forward to 2019. 2019 was, that was a rough year. There's a lot of emotion. As I bring up those memories. February of 2019. My grandfather died. On my mom's side. Him and I were very close. He ended up getting dementia a few years prior to that. That was hard to watch. So he comes to this time of year. I really miss him. He was my hunting partner. He took me fishing and hunting when I was a kid. Lots of fond memories there. You spent a lot of time with me. We're very close. Yeah. All those good memories were mixed with sadness. That's okay. I'm grateful for all those experiences. Man, need a box of Kleenexes. Hang on. Okay. 2019. Grandfather died. Had some stress going on in my congregation that we're a part of, and I'm an elder in our congregation. That was stressful. Financial wise, we had to make a choice to let my wife go to work and have a job for a while. That was also stressful, and of course we homeschool our kids, so that was definitely complicated too. She didn't go to work till later that year, going into 2020, but prior to those events, I hit my rock bottom. I come to the pain. I was having a migraine every week, same time, sometimes more than once a week. It's like, I can't live like this. I can't live my life where I'm always worried about when that migraine's coming on, or when my gut's going to hurt, or if I can eat for that matter, because I've already eliminated quite a bit of foods. And the thing about, what I've learned in my health journey is the more you eliminate, the more you have to eliminate. Just how it works. We're not meant to be allergic to foods, okay? We're not meant to have all these food sensitivities, and it's not a life sentence. But hit my rock bottom. I had enough, and my wife knew Mikhail Baron through a homeschool group, actually, and she has her own business, her own health coaching business at that time called Integrity Wellness. And I reached out to her and decided to give it a shot. Like nothing else was working, and doctors didn't have any answers for me. So what the heck? So I first started out doing a functional program, and that was more focused on nutrition, emotional release, those type of things. And within the first few weeks, I seen quite a bit of difference. And at that point too, I was like I did gain weight for a little while again after I lost weight the first time, and then at that point I lost a lot of weight again, and was actually down in the 120s at that point, so too skinny for my height. But doing what I was doing, I felt good. But it was still like I was putting a band-aid on things, and that's what it came down to, is realizing it's not the foods. I could have the best nutrition plan ever. It's a band-aid. Like all I was doing was putting band-aids on my health the whole time. And I had to take a complete whole health program through McCall Integrity Wellness, which later became Wholehearted Healing, which I am happy to be a part of. And what it really came down to is I had to face my inner self. And in that process, to see all the suppression and repression, and we all do this. We suppress our stuff, we repress our stuff, and it becomes like a poison in our body. Our body keeps count every time we go against ourselves. Every time we don't feel the emotions that we need to feel. Every time we don't allow ourselves to feel pain. Pain's uncomfortable. What we call negative emotions, it's uncomfortable. We need to feel it. Feel the pain to heal the pain. It was in that surrender, and those moments going through that program where I surrendered. I just allowed myself to feel it. I no longer was fighting it. And actually, I saw that was the problem. I was fighting it. Actually, one of the last major migraines that I had, I caught myself telling my wife, I'm fighting a headache. And that's what it hit me, because I was in the work that I am now, and like, that's the problem. I'm fighting it. I just allowed myself to relax as much as I could, and just allow it to be like, change my perspective of the situation, knowing that my body's always trying to heal. It's always trying to get back to the normal state, the healed state. And it comes with anything, whether you have a cold or flu or whatever, your body knows what to do. Actually, by that time, your body's in resolution. You're in healing phase at that point. And I just said, thank you for healing. Thank you for communicating. All pain is, all emotions are, is communication. And if we could treat it like that, our experience would be a lot better. And I allowed myself to just press in to all that pain I suppressed or repressed all that time, all the hurt that I kept inside, all those choices that I was making to go against myself. Talk about integrity. Integrity, it really, when it comes to healing, it's really about restoring our personal integrity. When we go against ourselves, that's sin to ourselves. Our body's keeping track of that. Every time we break our promises to ourselves, our body keeps track of that. Everything in our body, every cell in our system is communicating. Every time we have judgment or criticism for ourselves, it goes back there and reinforces that there's conflict, there's division. Like, I liken having a chronic illness or autoimmune condition, which I had. It's like you're at war with your body. You're at war with yourself. That's what it seems like. And you can look at, the mirror of life and how there's so much division in this world. It's that same kind of picture going on, all the pain and all the hurt, all the illusion of this division. And then the reality, there's this oneness. If you can come to that oneness of who we are, and be a better place, and eventually we're going to get there. Right now it seems pretty polarizing in the world. There's a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of war. But eventually it's all going to come to an end. And we'll have a new beginning. And that's what I gave myself, as a new beginning. New beginning in this life that I have created for myself, and in this work that I do, and in healing. And I'm grateful for this journey that I've been on, and looking at pain, I see it entirely different now. Like I said moments ago, it's communication. Pain is communication. We're meant to feel it to heal it. And whether it's emotional pain, physical pain, I tell people, like, say, for example, you get a scratch or a cut, and it starts to sting. That's a sign your body's working like it's supposed to. Your nervous system is letting you know that there's that cut there, and it can send cells there to heal the area. If you can't feel that pain, then we got a problem. So pain isn't an enemy. It's actually, it's part of our great human experience. And so is emotions. Emotions. It's part of this great human experience. We can have emotions. Emotions of joy and happiness and excitement, and also even the negative ones. And it's realizing that they're not in really opposition to each other. What's saying is, hate isn't the opposite of love, it's indifference. Indifference, you get to the point of, your past feeling. That's a scary place to be. So I'm grateful to have feelings, emotions, and even experience pain, because I know my body's working properly, especially when I, stub my toe or get a cut or whatever the case is. So you tend to look at pain differently. And through the process and healing some of the wounds that I've dragged along with me, some of the false identities and the people-pleasing patterns that I've dragged along with me, and letting go of those things, and stepping into who I really am. And in this work I do is like reintroducing myself to myself, is really what I look at it as, and becoming authentic. And it's realizing where there is integrity, homeostasis within me, there are no symptoms. There's no chronic illness. My body healed itself. I got my foods back. not on a strict diet and worrying about, am I going to react to this? Am I going to react to that? Am I going to react to my environment? There's so many things that I was having to watch that I was reacting to. And I know eventually I'm going to be sharing a lot more, on about this journey, like bits and pieces of it along the way, and some of the things I've experienced and some of the breakthroughs that I've had. But really, the topic of today is pain. And the reason that's on my mind today is last couple of days I've renovated our spare bathroom, which is our kids' bathroom, and I was feeling a little bit of sore muscle pain and whatnot from the project afterwards, and just some interesting stuff going on right now in the household, and getting lack of sleep at the same time. But last night I had some pain, and it's always natural to resist pain. Like immediately you just want to tense up and like, I don't want to deal with the pain. I've done this long enough that I can catch it and be like, it's okay. Thank you for healing. And just relax into it, and I don't get into this long drawn out process of dealing with pain. I don't get a major migraine. I don't end up making myself so sick that I'm puking and not being able to eat or whatever. I can actually settle in and just be with it, be with the pain. Whether that pain is created from some conflict when it comes to emotions or choices that I made, or just some physical activity that I was doing. It's recognizing that my body is just doing what the body does and it needs to do, and let it do its thing. And well, woke up this morning just fine. But changing the perspective on pain. Feel the pain to heal the pain. A lot of people, I get it. Dealing with pain, it sucks. Before I got to where I am today, when I was having those migraines on a consistent basis, I tried prescriptions. I didn't like the side effects. They were worse than, I think, dealing with the migraines, because I had tingling in my hands, my feet, my libido went way down, and just didn't feel right. So I was like, no. And then I still have like some of the symptoms of the migraine, just not the pain part of it. The pain was masked. And so I went off of that. And then after a while, Tylenol, Advil, Excedrin, whatever I took, just wouldn't touch it. Nothing would touch it anymore. So all I had to do, all I had left to do, was be with it. That was my only option from there, is just to be with it. And I just didn't know how to be with it. And so now I know how to be with it. And in that process, I've healed a lot of those inner wounds, like going back to the beginning, from that unworthiness I felt as a young kid, not being worth the time, and choosing to make myself worth the time, being worthy of the choices that I'm making, worthy of the life that I want to live, making myself matter and being important to myself. And a lot of things that I do or say on the surface may sound maybe selfish, but it's kind of realizing, like, most people are running on an empty cup. They are dead last all the time. They are disconnected from themselves in so many ways. We can't function in life on that. We can't keep going on that empty cup or that disconnection. In the Bible, it talks about the two greatest commandments. To love God with all your heart, soul, and strength. The second is like unto it, love your neighbor as yourself. Those commandments imply you must love yourself. In order to have a huge impact on anyone around you, or to show up your best self, to do what's best, you have to do what's best for you. And then what's best for you is going to be best for everyone else. To be at full capacity to show up in your life. We've gotten it backwards. We need to change that. We've gotten a lot of things backwards in life. I've come to realize and come to know. A lot of that I'm going to share as I go along. That, hey, you're experiencing pain, you have some emotions bubbling up, some arising of emotion, feel it. Allow yourself just to feel it completely and let go. Surrender. That's how I found healing. It's like, really, people say they believe in God, they believe in healing. I have to question that sometimes, because do they really believe? I mean, we have Jesus. I call him Yeshua, which is his Hebrew name. He said that we could do miracles greater than he. And it's like, why aren't we seeing that? Chronic illness, pain, autoimmune conditions are not life sentences. Allergies are not life sentences. I'm living proof of that. So are many others who have taken this journey with me. Start paying attention to what's going on inside. Feel your stuff. Show up for yourself. Commit to yourself. Don't break the promises you've made to yourself. Pain comes when we go against ourselves, when we lie to ourselves, when we break those promises to ourselves. All our disease, we create that. Just need to take responsibility. Realize that I am the creator of my life. I'm creating either my dis-ease or I'm creating my ease. I have a choice. When we become aware of that, well, that's power. Taking responsibility. Like, even though things happen to us, bad things happen, life happens to us. Can't control any of that. Can't control other people or how they behave or treat us. But I can control how I show up for me in all of those things, all of life, up and downs, how I respond to other people, my reactions. It's learning life is life, but I get to create my experience of it. Well, I'm going to leave it there. You'll have a great day. See you next time.